In the vast world of One Piece, there are characters who are disliked for many different reasons. So in this video, we are talking about the top 10 most hated One Piece characters in history. Starting with the number 10th spot on this list, we have Scratchman Apu. Apu's big moment that upset many fans was when he betrayed Eustace Kid and Hawkins in their alliance. The three pirate groups wanted to survive in the New World by combining their strengths and resources to challenge a Yonko. This move had major benefits. They wanted to carve out their own territories and elevate their status. But Apu pretended to be on their side, but secretly joined the Beast Pirates as an informant scouting powerful individuals to work under Kaido. This move was a big surprise, and it completely destroyed any chance they had of being successful. Eustace Kid and his crew were taken as prisoners because they refused to work under Kaido, but Hawkins knew his only chance of survival was joining the Beast Pirates. Another hated thing about Apu is his tactics in fights. He likes to surprise people and stay away from direct combat. This is different from other characters in One Piece, who are brave and face problems head-on. His way of doing things is more about looking out for himself than being loyal or brave. His actions, like betraying Kid, and his fighting style make him interesting, but not always liked. He shows that in the One Piece world, not everyone plays by the same rules. The number 9th spot on this list is Caesar Clown, a mad scientist who lives up to his notoriety. One of his most heinous acts is experimenting on children. He lured them with candy that contained addictive and harmful substances, all in a twisted attempt to create giant soldiers. His disregard for the innocence and safety of these children is a shocking display of his morality. These giantification experiments aren't just cruel, they're an example of science gone wrong. Caesar's obsession with creating giants shows his willingness to cross any line for his goals, no matter how unethical they are. Moving on to another one of Caesar's dark projects, the Smile Fruits. These artificial devil fruits, produced using a substance called SAD, are central to the power struggles in the New World. Caesar's role in their creation puts him in a position as a key villain in the One Piece world. He's a mad scientist who uses his expertise in a very bad way. He doesn't ever think about how his experiments could hurt others, especially kids. He doesn't seem to feel bad about the harm he causes whatsoever. While some other villains may have redeeming qualities or understandable motives, Caesar's lack of empathy and conscience makes him uniquely hateable. Moving on to number 8 on this list, we have Kanjuro. He was initially introduced as a loyal retainer of Oden and played a role that touched the hearts of many. His supposed dedication and camaraderie with the group earned him the audience's trust and affection, but this trust was shattered in the most dramatic way possible. Kanjuro revealed himself to be a spy for Kurozumi Orochi. This betrayal wasn't just a simple twist. It was a deep stab in the back of the Kozuki family and fans alike. Kanjuro's actions as a spy directly led to the suffering and downfall of the Kozuki family. His years of deception were a facade, as he manipulated and betrayed those who considered him a friend. But Kanjuro's deceit wasn't his only vice. His true colors became obvious due to how he treated Momonosuke, displaying a level of cruelty that was both shocking and repulsive. In a world where loyalty and honor are prized, especially among samurais, Kanjuro's lack of these qualities made him particularly hated. His actions went against everything that the samurai stood for, making him a true antagonist in the eyes of the audience. Even in his final moments, Kanjuro chose the path of revenge, refusing redemption or remorse. His last act was to sow chaos and destruction, cementing his legacy as a character driven by hatred and vengeance. Now, coming in at number 7 on this list, Vinsmoke Judge. He's known for his ruthless approach towards his own children. He genetically modifies his kids into super soldiers, showing a complete disregard for their well-being or consent. The way he treats Sanji, his third son, is particularly harsh. He disowns him simply because Sanji doesn't exhibit the same superhuman traits as his siblings. But it's not just his treatment of his family. Judge's ambition to conquer the North Blue reveals his hunger for power and disregard for others. He's willing to form dangerous alliances and use any means necessary to achieve his goals, even if it puts his own family at risk. Judge's hypocrisy also adds to the dislike. He hates Sanji for having emotions and kindness, yet he himself is not emotionless. He shows fear and despair when faced with his own demise at the hands of Big Mom. It's this double standard that grates on the nerves of many. And let's not forget his arrogance. He often flaunts his power and accomplishments, yet when the chips are down, he's quick to show cowardice. This contrast between his bravado and his actual behavior in the face of danger really highlights his true character. Lastly, he lacks genuine care for his people and soldiers. Despite being a king and a leader, he views them merely as tools to further his ambitions. This lack of empathy and respect for life further cements his position as a character that's hard to root for. At the number 6 spot, we have Spandam. Once the chief of CP9 and now a member of CP0, stands out as one of the most detested characters in the One Piece universe. But what exactly makes him so unlikable? Firstly, Spandam's cowardice. Despite his high-ranking position, he possesses less physical strength than an average marine, constantly hiding behind others. His reliance on manipulation rather than direct action marks him as a weakling in a world where strength is respected. Spandam's sadistic nature, especially evident in his treatment of Nico Robin, reveals a disturbing level of cruelty. He finds pleasure in the suffering of others, a trait that understandably garners a lot of hatred from fans. In his role as CP9 Chief and CP0 member, he abuses his authority. He exploits and backstabs to further his own interests, showing a blatant disregard for justice and morality. His tendency to avoid accountability is another major flaw. He shifts blame onto others to save his skin, escaping responsibility for his actions. But there is one action I don't want you to avoid, and that is hitting the like and subscribe button. Moving on to the 5th spot on this list, we have Arlong. Following the demise of his former captain, Fisher Tiger, Arlong's dark journey began. He went to dominate the East Blue, particularly putting his sights on the Konomi Islands. Arlong's reign of terror over Nami's village played a significant factor in his infamy. His brutal methods, exploitation of Nami's mapping skills, and the murder of her foster mother, Belle-Mère, paint a picture of a ruthless tyrant. Arlong's deep-seated hatred for humans is central to his character. This animosity fuels his actions and his vision of Fishman's superiority, making him a symbol of racial hatred in the One Piece world. Arlong's ideals and methods are different from those of Jinbei, who values freedom, friendship, and equality. This contrast further amplifies the audience's disdain for Arlong, positioning him as a true opposition to our heroes. Coming to our number 4th spot on this list is none other than Blackbeard. He started as a member of the Whitebeard Pirates. He seemed loyal, but come to find out he had a dark side. He killed a crewmate, Thatch, just to get his hands on a powerful devil fruit. This was the start of his betrayal. Blackbeard's actions led to the capture and death of Ace, one of the most loved characters. He handed Ace over to the Marines, and this eventually led to Ace's tragic end. This act alone made Blackbeard a target of hate for many fans. Unlike other characters in One Piece, Blackbeard is a master of deceit. He joined the 7 warlords and used his position to free dangerous criminals from Impel Down. His cunning ways are a stark contrast to the straightforward nature of the show's heroes. Despite being powerful, Blackbeard often shows cowardice. For example, he begged for his life when Whitebeard confronted him. This hypocrisy makes him an easy character to dislike. His ambition knows no bounds. He's willing to sacrifice anyone, including his own crew, for more power. This selfishness is in direct opposition to the values of friendship and loyalty that One Piece is known for. Blackbeard is often compared to Luffy. Both believe in fate and dreams, but they chase their goals differently. Luffy cares about his friends and fights for others, while Blackbeard is all about himself. Blackbeard's actions have huge impacts in the One Piece world. As one of the main villains, he's a constant threat to our favorite characters. His ruthless nature has shaped many of the series' events. But moving on to the 3rd spot on the list, we have Akainu. Known for his belief in absolute justice. This means he thinks that any crime should be punished super harshly. He's so serious about this that he often goes way too far. One of the biggest reasons fans don't like him, he played a huge part in the death of Ace, a character loved by many. This moment in the One Piece story really made fans see Sakazuki as a bad guy. His way of doing things is also a big problem. He's really strict and doesn't show much care for others. He even fights with other characters who believe in being more fair and kind, like Aokiji. Another thing about Akainu is how he treats his own marine soldiers. He expects them to follow his orders without question, even if it means they could get hurt. This makes him come across as really harsh and uncaring. He represents the darker side of the government in One Piece. He often uses his power to push around others, and he doesn't like when people challenge his views. Coming to the number 2 spot on the list is none other than Orochi. His story is one of power, betrayal, and cruelty. He wasn't always the big boss of Wano. His family lost their power because of his grandfather's bad actions. Because of this, Orochi grew up really wanting power and revenge. When he became shogun, he wasn't a kind ruler. He was really evil and made life tough for the people of Wano. He only cared about himself, not showing any concern of how the people were suffering. Orochi was also super sneaky. He got his power by tricking others and breaking promises. He was always scared of losing power and constantly worried about the Kozuki family coming back to take over. Orochi thought he was untouchable because he was in a partnership with Kaido. This served as a shell to keep him protected. When Kaido betrayed him, everyone saw that Orochi wasn't as strong as he thought. Under Orochi's rule, Wano, which used to be a beautiful place, was ruined. He didn't care about the land or its traditions. All these things made Orochi a villain that many fans hated. Now coming into our final spot on this list are the Celestial Dragons. These descendants of the world government's founders hold immense power and are seen as top-tier aristocrats. Firstly, their absolute power is a major issue. They sit at the top of the world government and misuse their authority. This leads to unchecked crimes and abuses, turning them into symbols of tyranny. Their arrogance also plays a part. Viewing themselves as superior, they expect everyone, no matter who, to follow their orders. This attitude breeds deep resentment. Another point is their treatment of others. Despite the illegality of slavery, the celestial dragons are known for their brutal treatment of slaves, showing a total disregard for human rights. Their lifestyle is another reason. Living in extreme luxury, funded by taxes that impoverish nations, their wealth is a constant reminder of their cruelty and disconnect from the real world. Lastly, their lack of accountability adds to the dislike. Being above the law, they face no consequences for their actions, creating a strong sense of injustice among people. Now, if you want to see all of the fighting styles in One Piece ranked from weakest to strongest, click on this video.